Welcome to Sports Talk with RKJ. I'm Steve Ritzer here with my co-host Justin D'Onofrio and Kyle Galuli, and we are here. It is the NFL Draft, and it begins tonight. And, I mean, there's a lot of anticipation, especially with this first pick for the last 2 months, what the Arizona Cardinals were going to do. A lot of people think they're going to go with Kyler Murray, and it looks like they are going to go with Kyler Murray and probably trade Josh Rosen. And I'm really excited for this draft. I think I know you don't have a lot of the big quarterbacks in this draft, but still, you have a lot of good defensive tackles. You also have a lot of good defensive tackles, defensive ends. This is a pass. If you need a pass rusher, this is a really, really big draft for you, and it should be really exciting to see what happens tonight. I always get excited for the NFL draft. It's always one of my favorite days of the year because it signals pretty much signals the beginning of the 2019 of the NFL season. It signals the beginning of the 2019 NFL season, and I'm really excited to see what happens. So we'll just get right into it. We'll start with the Cardinals and their number one, and they have the number one pick, and it's pretty obvious where they're probably going to go now. It looks like they're going to take Kyler Murray with this number one pick. Cliff Kingsbury loves him. Yes, I don't personally like it. I think they should stick with Josh Rosen and take a pass rusher, but and I don't think you should give up on a top 10 pick that you traded up for last year after 1 year, but it looks like that's what Cliff Kingsbury is going to do. Cliff Kingsbury is a huge Kyler Murray guy, and here's my opinion on Kyler Murray. I think he's got a really good arm. I think he's got really good mobility. My issue with him is his size and how good is he going to be at the line of scrimmage. I'm not sure if he's really 5'10", and in my lifetime, outside of Doug Flutie a little bit in the late 90s with the Bills, I've really never seen a quarterback under 5'10" succeed in the National Football League, and behind this offensive line, which was the worst in football last year, it definitely could be a question if he will succeed behind this offensive line. I mean, yes, he's very mobile. He's got a great arm, but line of scrimmage and size, how good is he at the line of scrimmage and his size are definitely going to be the determining factors for me if he's going to be a good quarterback or not. I like some things I've seen from Kyler Murray, but I'm not totally sold on Kyler Murray, but Cliff Kingsbury is, and that's why in my mock draft, I have the Cardinals taking him number one. Kyle.
Yeah, I also have them taking Kyler Murray because I feel like it's pretty obvious. Other than that, I would see them trading it, but I mean, I'm going to go with Kyler Murray. Personally, I don't agree with it either because I would just keep Josh Rosen and end up taking like one of these defensive line, amazing players or trade out of it. But I would go at this point, it has to be Kyler Murray. But like you said, he's super athletic. He can run, which can be very useful behind that O-line, which is not good at all. And he does have a good arm, probably an above average NFL arm, and he's very, very accurate. And we do know he can slide, obviously playing baseball. So I feel like they could have him do that. I'm going to tell him, do that when you run. And also, I'd put on tape of Russell Wilson and Drew Brees if I was his coach. Like, listen, model your game after this quarterback. Look what Drew Brees does to find, the holes in the line, to find the passing lanes. Look what Russell Wilson does in that same case. Then when you turn to Russell Wilson, obviously we know he's very mobile. He never gets hit. He always slides. Put on that tape because if you get hit one time, you're RG3.
Yeah, I'm with you guys with Kyler Murray too. He's on this side, he probably is, I would say, probably 5'9", 5'8", but he's so athletic. He has such a great arm. And I think with Cliff's offense too, he's going to thrive, I think, with that offense. And Cliff's so good at offensive coach. Now, we haven't seen at the NFL level if he can continue what he did in the Big 12 because it's a lot easier to score in the Big 12 than it will be in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
But, I think Murray's got a lot of potential. It just, you don't usually see a top 10 pick top 10 pick from a year ago kind of get already thrown away. Like, they're going to trade him away. I know he didn't have such a great of a year, but it's kind of like you just kind of already quit on him after 1 year.
And it's not even it's his fault either.
Yeah, only that they didn't really have any weapons. They didn't.
Yeah, really terrible, worst offensive line in football.
And David Johnson struggled too.
Yeah, and you're hanging him out to dry. Like, the only thing I could see if like doing this type of situation, let's just say like with a quarterback. Let's say you just drafted a blowout, a quarterback you thought was going to be it, and he showed no problems. Then you have a quarterback like. Let's say Andrew Luck coming out in the draft, and then I can understand now. This ain't it.
Yeah.
I honestly, if you have Rosen coming out of the draft like last year, or Kyler Murray, I mean it's probably right there with who he takes. So it's not like Kyler Murray is insanely better. So to me, it's a head scratcher. But Kingsbury's putting everything on Kyler Murray, and if I'm, the GM owner and owner of the team. I'm telling him, listen, we spend this whatever draft capital, move up, get Josh Rosen. Now you want to get Kyler Murray. I'm all for getting your guy. I got no issues with that. But I better see some improvement or you're going to be gone. Because I'm not trying to spend that draft capital that we did to move up to just waste it away after 1 year. And now you're taking over. I mean, it's a decent cap hit trading him. It's not like, you're just trading him, you're freeing up 8-10 million.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Good luck with it. I mean, you're putting all your eggs in that basket.
He sure is. I mean, his job will be, him and Steve Keim's job will be determined by the way Kyler Murray plays. There is no question about that.
They do have to get him some weapons around him because they don't have much at all.
Yes,
they do so.
Yes. So at number 2, the 49ers will select, and I think it's a pretty obvious selection. Even though there is durability concerns, yes, you've seen his brother. He's missed 13 games in 3 years in the NFL. Bosa missed 3 games last year. He only played 3 games last year with Ohio State, got hurt in the TCU game. I think it's Nick Bosa. I think the second pick is going to be Nick Bosa. I mean, a really, really good edge rusher, can stop the run as well, so he could do both. Just the one concern with him, I think he is the best player in the draft. The one concern is durability. That's going to be the biggest concern for Nick Bosa. But if the 49ers, you draft Nick Bosa, you got a defensive line now of DeForest Buckner, D Ford, and now Nick Bosa. That's a really, really, really good defensive line going into next season. So in my mock draft, the second pick, I got the Niners taking Nick Bosa. Kyle.
Yeah, I also have them taking Nick Bosa as well. But personally, if I'm them, now I'm not projecting trades. If I'm them personally, I'm trying to trade out. I mean, you just got D Ford, and you spent the last 2-3 years you spent first round picks on down linemen. So to me personally, I trade back because you need corner help. To me, should be your ideal thing. But obviously, there's nothing, no one that's Bosa type level at corner. So I would have him taking Bosa, and if you got him, that defense all of a sudden goes from, I think they forced, it was only 7 turnovers last year, which I believe is I think it's the record for the least amount ever, or if it's not, it's way up there. And that's terrible. And now, but if you add him with Ford, as long as he lines up on sides, and you have add him, Buckner, was it Eric Armstead, I think they drafted?
It was Eric Armstead, yeah.
So you got...
And Solomon Thomas, too.
Yeah, and Solomon Thomas. So you got talent for days. You legitimately have 5 pretty good pass rushers. So now all of a sudden, maybe they're thinking, if we get the pass rush, maybe that can, better up our pass defense because they have less time. So maybe that's they're thinking of it. But, Bosa, that dude, talent for days.
Yeah, he's so explosive, too, for 6'4", 266. He's got some explosiveness. And only in 10 career starts, though, has 17.5 sacks. That's, I know it's a different level of info, but that's pretty good. You don't see that every day. I think he is the best player in the draft, and I think you can't pass up on him if you're the Niners. But I do know because they do need help at cornerback. So if they do trade back, I wouldn't be surprised. But you're taking, you get the best player in the draft, Nick Bosa. This kid is really. I know he's got injury concerns, but I really like this kid.
At number 3, the Jets pick, and this is the place where I think we could see our first trade. We could potentially see a Washington or a Cincinnati move up to this pick. So, I mean, the Jets have said they've been open to trading down at this pick too. So I wouldn't be surprised the Jets trade down here, but if they keep this pick, and this is a surprise because they are passing on a really great player in Quentin Williams, I have them taking Ed Oliver here. Now, a lot of people think Ed Oliver has very, very high potential, but last year he did play at Houston where he played a lot of nose tackle. I think the issue with Ed Oliver is I don't think a lot of college teams saw him playing that 3 technique or that defensive end position in a 3-4. He played a lot of nose tackle at Houston, so I think that could be the biggest issue with Ed Oliver, but I've heard rumors the Jets like Ed Oliver, and I wouldn't go here. Honestly, I wouldn't take him. I'd definitely take Quentin Williams or Josh Allen, and Josh Allen fits the Jets scheme perfectly. You look at Quentin Williams, they have Henry Anderson and Leonard Williams playing 3-4 defensive end. Josh Allen fits the Jets scheme perfectly, being that 3-4 outside linebacker, but from the reports I've been hearing, I think the Jets are going to end up taking Ed Oliver with this 3rd pick. So in my mock draft, I got the Jets taking Ed Oliver. Kyle.
I have them taking Josh Allen because, like you said, it fits perfectly. That's what they should do. I mean, this guy, he's 6'5", he's 262, He ran a 4.63, which is pretty good for especially at that height and weight. 28 on the bench press. That's pretty good. And I don't really see a hole in his game. I mean, the guy, and I'm looking at, they have some of his NFL comparisons being Anthony Barr, and I think that's very accurate because like Anthony Barr coming out was a very raw, explosive talent, which Josh Allen is. And if you just fine tune it a little bit, I don't see anything this guy can't do. And it's like Oliver, he is good, but the thing is like if it's not just as much of a scheme fit, it's like I don't see this guy is just perfect. It's like you're putting a square peg in a square hole. It's a perfect fit. You're not, I just to me I don't see why they do it. But I mean, it is the Jets, so they don't exactly do things as they should. Although they got Sam Darnold. It's more power to you. You got a quarterback. But to me, I personally would take Allen because that dude is ultra talented, and I can see that guy being a perennial Pro Bowler year after year after year.
Yeah, and we all got different fits. I got Quentin Williams. I think the Jets are going to take Williams. I think he's the best, D lineman in this or D tackle in this draft. He got pressure last year 52 times. As an interior lineman, that was 11 more than anybody else in the country last year. He gets pressure on the quarterback. He's pretty quick, I think, for an interior lineman. I really think this would be huge for the Jets. They could also land him. That's not the biggest concern to D tackle, but I know where they're sitting right now at 3. They sit back or trade back. This is the best player there, and I think they will take him. Williams.
Yes. So, yeah, Quentin Williams is definitely the can't-miss prospect in this draft, and that's why I have the Raiders taking him at 4. He's just a can't-miss prospect. Yeah, you could argue Bose is the best player, but Williams is the can't-miss prospect. Durability, he could pressure the quarterback, he could stop the run, and you look at the Raiders right now, their defense is absolutely terrible. They got absolutely no talent on that defense, and I think Quentin Williams would be a great pick for them at 4. That's why I got them taking Quentin Williams. This is a can't-miss prospect, and for a team with no one on defense right now, this would be a really good pick for the Raiders at 4.
Yeah, I also had them getting Williams as well because, like you said, he can't miss prospect. There's nothing this guy can do. Like when you said he's athletic, he did run a 4.83, which is pretty good for a guy that's 6'3", 303, and the guy has pretty big hands, just over 9.5-inch hands. So the guy's talented, and obviously they traded away Khalil Mack. To me, with this first pick that the Raiders have, you have to get defensive talent. There's no, waiting back to your second or third first round pick that you have and getting defensive line talent. Or you can double up there. I got no problem with that, but you need to get some talent. And to me, Quentin, he is the guy that is like the best talent defensive line wise, combined with the surest pick possible, because both this has a little bit of an injury history. Allen is good, but he is a little bit of a raw prospect. Williams is just, that guy's polished, the guy's good, he's from Bama, so the guy knows football. Otherwise Saban would have him out in a quick, fast, and in a hurry. So to me, there's nothing the guy can do, and if you get this, you have your defensive tackle for next probably 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, no, for the Raiders, I got Josh Allen. Now, this morning, I don't know if you guys heard this, but the Raiders are very interested in Dwayne Haskins. So, which I think they need to go defense, which I think they do with Josh Allen. He had 17 sacks a year ago. He's Kentucky's all-time leading sack leader with 33. So, in 4 years, half of the sacks came last year. He gained 15 pounds last year, a lot of muscle. He bulked up. And he can also play a little bit pack. He's athletic enough too, where he could play a little pass or two off of a linebacker, which would help the Raiders. What they need, the corner and linebacker, they need help everywhere defensively. So I think the Raiders have to go defense here. We know Gruden, is not a big Carr fan, but I think you got to go Josh Allen. Great pass rusher. Now I don't know if he would ever be Khalil Mack. That guy was a special talent, but I think he'll help out for this defense that needs anything they can get right now.
So we go to the number 5 pick, and that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think this pick has got to be Josh Allen because it could be him or Devin White, but I think Josh Allen. The Buccaneers they had one of the worst defenses in the league last year. A pass rusher like Josh Allen would really help them, and he would fit Todd Bowles' 3-4 scheme perfectly. He could play outside linebacker. I had 17 sacks last year in college, so I'm going with Josh Allen as the Bucs. With the number 5 pick in my mock draft, I got the Bucs taking Josh Allen.
Yeah, if my mock draft, if Josh Allen was here, I'd have him taking him, but I don't. So I have him taking Devin White. I mean, a guy, there is nothing. It seems like there's nothing this guy can't do. 22 reps on the bench press, pretty good. The fact that the guy ran a 4.42 as a middle linebacker, he most of the time he's going to be covering either backs out of the backfield or tight ends. And when you have this speed on a guy that is 237, his hands are pretty big, and the guy, to me, there's just again nothing this guy can't do. He is easily the best middle linebacker in this whole draft, and seeing this now, one of the things has his NFL comparison being Miles Jack. To me, it's perfect. He is essentially like a Miles. I think he's slightly less in terms of the strength, but the speed, I have him right there. And I mean, if you had, again, the Bucs, it's just like the Bears drafting Roquan Smith last year. You have your middle linebacker for 10 plus years now.
Yeah, I also have Devin White going 5th to Tampa. I love White. I think he's the best sideline defender in this draft. He's great on third down, never takes plays off. The only thing I've heard on him is a little bit of concern is he's a step slow on reading the play action, which hopefully just development time, he gets better at that and that'll be fine. But I really like him. He's a hard hitter. He plays hard. We saw that hit Mississippi State, that target. I thought that was clean, but he rocked that guy, and I think he's the best linebacker in this draft, and I think Tampa should take him.
So the New York, just very interesting here, the New York Giants have the number 6 pick, and they can go a ton of different ways. They could go linebacker, they can go edge rusher, they can go quarterback. Personally, as a Giants fan, I hope they take Dwayne Haskins with this pick. But here's the thing. There's a very good chance Washington is probably going to trade up into the top 5 to get Dwayne Haskins. They also could go linebacker if Devin White's out there. That would be a really good pick. That would probably be the best player on the board if they go Devin White. They also could go edge rusher like a Montez Sweat or a Rashawn Gary. So they could really go any way with this pick. But where I think they're going to go, and I really don't want them to go here at 6 because they could probably get him at 17, I think they're going to take, I hate to say this, but I think they're going to take Daniel Jones with the number 6 pick. I think so. I think Dave Gettleman loves him. I think you have the connection. David Cutcliffe is the coach at Duke. He was Eli Manning's coach at Ole Miss. All these connections there. I don't want this to happen, and Daniel Jones, I don't mind him. I think he's got size. I think he's got pretty good football IQ. He can move a little bit, but the issue with him is the arm strength. I think he definitely has the worst arm between Kyler Murray, Dwayne Haskins, and Drew Lock. But just because of the connection with David Cutcliffe, with Eli Manning, and Dave Gettleman really likes that a lot. I've been hearing a lot of Daniel Jones of the Giants rumors. I think with the number 6 picks, the number 6 pick, the Giants are going to take Daniel Jones. Kyle.
Real quick, if they take Daniel Jones, quick moment of silence for Dave Gettleman. Mm-hmm. Okay. So now I have them taking Ed Oliver. I mean, I think they should take Dwayne Haskins. Now that's smart. That's what they should do. Doesn't seem like that at all for some. I guess the connection with Eli, that's the only thing I could see why, because to me, Dwayne Haskins does like everything better. But hey, do what you're going to do, Gettleman. But I personally would take Ed Oliver. The guy is 6'2", 270. He had a bench press 32, so the guy's strong. Has 36-inch vertical at that height and weight. Pretty good. The guy, he didn't run the 40, but I'm guessing he probably would have been relatively good. So actually, the guy is super athletic. And this guy, because you guys got rid of Damon Harrison, I think he might be slightly less in terms of guarding against the run, but I think him compared to Harrison is going to be a major boost in terms of pass rush, and to me, that's what the Giants need. I know this personally as a Patriots fan.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Start of my life, the fact that when they've won the last 2 Super Bowls, it's been the pass rush that's mainly led them, and miracle plays by Eli. But anyway, miracle plays by Eli, but that great pass rush and just the cycle of talent. Okay, the talent comes in. Maybe they're a little tired. And then you get a fresh, great pass rusher. And that to me is what you're getting with Ed Oliver. And to me, that's what they should do, unless it's Dwayne Haskins. But to me, it's Ed Oliver.
Yeah, for me, I am going Dwayne. I know it doesn't sound like it's going their way, but I'm going to take Dwayne Haskins for it because that's who they should pick. So I'm going with who they should pick here. The guy's I don't understand why I get him. The guy's a Giant fan too. Like, he grew up a Giant fan in Jersey. Why? I don't understand what he's doing.
Yeah, and real quick, if he doesn't get drafted by the Giants, let's say they pass him and he gets picked later. If I'm him, I'm saving something extra every time I face the Giants, and I'm letting them know that.
Yeah, especially if he goes to Washington, you get to see him 2 times a year.
Yeah, that'd be trouble if he goes to Washington. Yes.
Oh yeah. So the guy threw over 50 touchdowns. Like, he's 6'4". He's athletic. He's gonna run. He can run over some guys. I really. He would have won the Heisman if not for Tua and Kyler Murray's unbelievable season. He had one too. He threw for over 50 touchdowns.
Yeah, and it was a lot of down the field passes too.
Yeah,
it was 70% completion percentage.
Yeah, I just don't understand here. I'm just going with Dwayne Haskins. That's a pick they should get. I'm sticking with it. Giants don't. I'm sorry for you, Steve.
Yes, we'll see what happens there. It's gonna be very interesting to see what the Giants do at 6. So at 7, the Jaguars pick, and I got them taking Jawan Taylor out of Florida. They also could go T.J. Hawkinson. They could even take an edge rusher. They could even go like Montez Sweat. They could take an edge rusher, but I think they're gonna go Jawan Taylor. And here's the reason why: Cam Robinson, their starting left tackle. Poor play the first year, and last year he tore his ACL, so there's definitely concern there. And he was the second-round pick, so his contract's gonna be up in a couple years. They need to be able to protect Nick Foles, even though Nick Foles was really, really good under pressure. He's one of those quarterbacks where I feel like needs to be protected. I think Jawan Taylor could really, really help them at the right tackle position this year. Say you play Cam Robinson left tackle, have Jawan Taylor play right tackle. So I mean, I could see Hawkinson going here, I could see Sweat going here, but my pick is going to be Jawan Taylor going to the Jaguars to improve that offensive line and go 7.
I'm right there with you. I got him as well. I mean, he has 10-inch hands, very big hands, 6'5", 312. So we know this guy's a massive human being. Like you said, you need someone to protect Nick Foles because he probably runs the same 40 as about all of us. He does no mobility, although he's very clutch. But yeah, you need to get some blocking for him. Other than that, the only other person I could really see would be T.J. Hawkinson because the guy is probably the most complete tight end in this whole draft. But to me, I think it has to be Jawan Taylor at this point.
Yeah, I got Jawan Taylor as well. Last year, Florida ran through side 11 times, or had 11 rushing touchdowns to his side, which was the second most SEC. I think Alabama was the only other one that had more. I think. Not so sure about that one, but he can get to the second level. He can actually also be a lead blocker. He's done a little bit lead blockers on the outside as well. So he can do a little bit of that. I don't know how many toss plays they're going to run to Leonard Fournette anyways. I don't think but I think, yeah, it could be him or Hawkinson, but I think Jawan Taylor would be better fit to protect them right now. So I'll go with Taylor as well. And they like the Florida pipeline, too. They usually pick a couple guys, it seems like, from Florida.
Yeah, well, seems with him being from Florida, you know they watched every single minute of him.
Yeah.
At 8, the Lions pick, and this is interesting too. I mean, they can go a bunch of different ways too. They can go Montez Sweat. They can go Rashawn Gary. They can go Brian Burns. They could take a pass rusher, but they did go out in free agency and sign a pass rusher with Trey Flowers. I mean, and you have Devin White on the board, so you can go a bunch of ways. You can go with T.J. Hawkinson too, so you could really go 3 different ways here. But I think Montez Sweat really doesn't fit he's more of a 4-3 defensive end than a 3-4 defensive end. T.J. Hawkinson, yes, but I think when you have a guy like Devin White out there and Matt Patricia, defensive head coach, I think you got to take Devin White. He's the best player on the board at that point, and I think you got to take him. So at 8, I got the Lions taking Devin White.
Oh yeah, okay, I'll go there. Yeah, I think Devin White, and my thing, he's not there, but if he is, that'd be a perfect fit because that could be kind of like with how Hightower was for the Patriots. When Patricia was there, he was the quarterback of that defense. Devin White would fit in perfectly. Obviously, way more athletic than Hightower, but he could be that quarterback of the defense. But I have them getting Montez Sweat because this guy is a physical freak, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. I mean, he is 260, 6'6". He has 10.5-inch hands, which I believe is almost the size of the hands of Gronk, if maybe even a slightly bigger. I'm not exactly sure what his hand size was. Yeah, he bench pressed 21. He can like see me a little bit better, but he did run a 4.41 at that size, 36-inch vertical. You know that guy's a physical freak. Now, is the scheme fit perfect? No. But I think just for the fact that if you did stand him up and just put him up as more of like an outside linebacker, I just think that guy just off of pure athleticism will thrive, and especially in the first year or two, and then he'll take double teams off of Trey Flowers. And I think that you could just, if you just even coach him a little bit, just that raw physical talent, I think it's almost to the level of what Clowney was coming out in his draft, because it just there's a size, the speed, the strength. To me, is it the biggest need in the world? I would say no, but it is a need, and the fact that he's so talented, to me, if I'm the Lions, I can't pass him up.
Yeah, I went. That was like one of the tough picks for me. I went back and forth between him, and I actually ended up doing T.J. Hawkinson. I felt like if the Lions did not get Flowers, I think they definitely would have gone Sweat. But I think because they did get Flowers, I think they do, because they didn't have anything last year from their tight ends. Like Martin and wide receiver, they lost two of their top wide receivers. I just feel like they need help out right now on the offensive side of the ball, but with already getting Flowers. So Hawkinson caught 74% of his passes last year. Caught 50 passes for Iowa, 6 touchdowns, but he had Noah Fant to the other side. So, and Iowa likes to run those 2 tight end sets. Yeah, I think that's where they'll go Hawkinson. I think they do need help at tight end, so I'm gonna take Hawkinson, but that was a tough one.
And they could probably use him a similar thing to. No, he's not. To me, he's not Gronk, but he can do some of those things that I feel like they're Gronk. He's the complete tight end, like how Gronkowski was. So, I mean, if they got him, I can't blame him. Yeah. Good tight end.
Yeah.
No, not at all. So at 9, the Bills pick, and this is a little interesting here. They also can go Hawkinson. They also could take an interior defensive player too. They can go a bunch of different places, but I got them taking Montez Sweat here. I think if you add another edge rusher with Jerry Hughes, I think this could be a really, really good pass defense, because you got Tre'Davious White in the back end. You went middle linebacker last year, taking Tremaine Edmonds, and he could be a really, really good middle linebacker this year for them. So with the 9th pick, I got the Bills taking Montez Sweat.
I have them taking Hawkinson because, we just said, he is a complete tight end, and they do need that. Even though Josh Allen isn't the most refined passer, you can give him that guy that's going to help out in run game blocking wise. It's going to help out play action for him, so it's obviously going to help out Josh Allen, and it's to give him that safety blanket over the middle, which Hawkinson is a very, very good pass catcher, no doubt. So I have them taking T.J. Hawkinson.
I have the Bills taking Ed Oliver. At 6'1", he's a little bit undersized for a D tackle, but he's very quick to get to the quarterback. It's that quick route, and I know he played a lot of nose guard last year, but he also could play that. He also played DN, which I think helps that he'd be versatile at both positions. The only concern for me is I know he had that one little argument with his head coach last year during one of the games. I can't remember.
Was it about the jacket that he wore?
I think so. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And I don't know how big of a concern that is. Is he? I don't know, but that's something that maybe keep your eye on. I do really like him. He's like a top 5 talent, I think, and I think he would help out the Bills' defense. Again, pass rushing.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So for the Broncos at 10, yes, they might take a quarterback here. That you could see Drew Lock here, but I think with them going out and getting Joe Flacco, they're gonna focus on defense with Vic Fangio being the head coach. I think they're gonna go linebacker. I think Devin Bush is a player you really can't miss on at linebacker. He could cover, he could stop the run. A little bit undersized, but he can cover and he can stop the run. And the Broncos definitely need a linebacker. Losing Brandon Marshall in the offseason and the way at times they couldn't stop the run last year, I'm going with Devin Bush to the Broncos at 10.
I have them getting Drew Lock just for defense. It feels like Elway loves quarterbacks to have strong arms. Obviously, Flacco does have a strong arm. Drew Lock has probably a top 2, 3, just pure arm, arm power in this draft. But I think they'll take it. And I feel at this point, let's say he does take Drew Lock. If he doesn't get it right and he happens to be bust for whatever reason, is Elway gone? at this point?
Oh, yeah,
Or
because
is he-
he's continued to whiff on the quarterback
yeah,
position.
I mean, this is going to be, maybe like 3 or 4 to that extent that they've taken. But to me, if you have Drew Lock sit behind Flacco, and I understand Flacco's not the best in terms of wanting to mentor. Obviously, you saw that with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. I would just have him sit behind Flacco for a little bit, and learn the game a little bit, because they don't have exactly the best weapons, especially with Sanders coming off that Achilles. So I'd have him kind of sit back instead of just getting beat up with very little weapons. So I think they're going to go Drew Lock.
Yeah, I think John Elway will take Drew. I think it seems like he always tries to take a quarterback like this, whenever he gets a chance. He's got a huge arm. He had 97 touchdown passes in 4 years at Missouri. Second all-time behind Chase Daniels, which kind of reminds me a little bit. That big stature, he's got an arm. So, I'm not saying it's, pass going to end up like that, but, kind of reminds me a little bit of Chase Daniels. But no, I think the accuracy is worrisome to me. And then also last year's the first time he actually ran an actual offense. It was the air raid the first 3 years at Missouri. So he didn't have he still had a pretty good year. I think he did better. I think he still had a pretty good year. So I think, maybe help actually running like a regular offense this year kind of helped them out. And I think he'd be really, really good if he get that accuracy better.
Yeah, I mean, that's very interesting. That's a very interesting point. We'll see with Drew Lock, because you got a lot of teams. I mean, if the Giants take Daniel Jones, the Redskins take Dwayne Haskins. Obviously, the Cardinals are probably going to take Kyler Murray. You got teams. But you got some teams that might not take a quarterback, like the Broncos, the Dolphins, and the Bengals. So we'll see if Drew Lock ends up dropping out of the first round. We'll see what happens with Drew Lock there. So at 11, we got the Bengals, and yes, they could take a quarterback here. Andy Dalton has 2 more years left on his contract. They might want to improve the position if Haskins is here, which I don't think he will. I mean, yes, in my mock draft I have him here, but I personally don't think he's going to be there. So it could be interesting to see where they go here. But I think they're gonna, and then they could go linebacker, but I think Bush and White are gonna be off the board. So that's why I think they're gonna go offensive line. They're gonna go Jonah Williams from Alabama. I mean, he could play tackle, he could play guard, he could really, really help that offensive line, which has struggled the last couple of years. When they lost Andrew Whitworth, they lost Kevin Zeitler. So I think that the Bengals, even though they took a lineman last year in Billy Price, I think they take another offensive lineman in Jonah Williams with the 11th pick.
Yeah, I had them getting Dwayne Haskins. I mean, I don't think he should be there at this point, because it seems like Giants should take him. But to me, there's nothing that he can't do. I mean, he's not the best in terms of scrambling ability. He's not Kyler Murray, but he has an amazing arm. He threw for what? Was it 50? Yeah, it was a
52 or 53.
Yeah, so over 50, if not more than 50 touchdowns. He limited his interception. I don't think he touched double digits in terms of that. He had it was a touch over 4,800 yards. I mean, what more do you want from a guy? The guy, he is, I've seen some stuff say, maybe he's a little arrogant. I don't think exactly. I just think he's confident in his ability. I mean, to me, I'd rather have a guy be confident in his ability and be like, yes, I'm the best. If you don't pick me, I will destroy you. And then have a guy that says, let's just say, a scout said, I think this part of your game isn't that great. And the guy's like, yeah, well, you're probably right. No, I'm on the guy and be like, no, you're wrong. This is what I can do, and kind of go back at him, which to me is kind of what Dwayne Haskins can do. And if you have that pairing with with AJ Green, I mean, Lord knows what's going to happen to Tyler Eifert. That guy's been walking Mr. Glass at this point. But to me, if you get Dwayne Haskins, Bengals get their quarterback of the future.
Yeah, for the Bengals, I'm going with the bold one. I don't know if this wouldn't be a little earlier for this one, but I have the guard out of BC, Chris Lidstrom. Now I know he had a really good combine.
He is good though.
Yeah, he started 49 consecutive games, so he stays healthy. So that's always a positive. Maybe a little raw. He had a great combine, which really helped his draft stock for him. So I think Bengals need a little bit of help. I did think about going quarterback as well, but I did hear last night that they are not interested in a quarterback in the first round. So I could definitely see them picking Lidstrom. I don't know if he's going to go that high, though, but I feel like maybe the right guy for him as a guard, but I don't know. be a little high for him.
So the Packers pick at 12, and I think if Hawkinson's there, they got to take him. I mean, he's got the size. He could catch the ball. He could block. I mean, I just can't see the Packers not taking T.J. Hawkinson at 12. Be a great weapon for Aaron Rodgers. So at 12, I got the Packers taking T.J. Hawkinson at Iowa.
I have them taking Jonah Williams from Bama. I mean, he's a I think him and guy that you just had
Lidstrom.
Yeah, that them taking the two best, like guard or tackle, because Jonah Williams he can be a little versatile, but yeah, I have him taken because you need to protect Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, he's the golden boy of the franchise. You need to protect him. I think if you get him, he could be a staple on that offensive line 10, 15 plus years.
Yeah, for Green Bay, I'm going to go Devin Bush out of Michigan, the inside linebacker. Last 2 years, he had 13 pass breakups. Last year, won the Big Ten Player of the Year. Really good. I think second and third best linebacker in this draft. Ran a 4.43 and a 40-yard dash is pretty quick. I really like this kid. I think play hard, big hitter. I think Green Bay needs that help defensively. I think he'd help them out big time.
Alrighty, at 13, the Dolphins pick, and I think they're going to pass on a quarterback. It's kind of been the narrative that's been going around with the Dolphins. They're looking at next year's quarterback class, and I think you got to start if you're going to build a team. If you're not going to take a quarterback, I think you got to start with you got to get someone who's going to get the other team's quarterback, and that's why I got the Dolphins taking Brian Burns out of Florida State with the 13th pick.
I have them getting was it Cleveland? Is that how you pronounce his name?
Cleveland Ferrell.
Yeah, Ferrell from Clemson. Because it's 6'4", 10.5-inch hands. So the guy has, a hand size for days. So it's going to help him, getting off of blocks. And I think it showed that Clemson defensive line was so dominant this past year. And I believe it was Dexter Lawrence. That wasn't that the guy that had the issues. So he was suspended for game 2. And when he was out, it showed no drop off. I didn't see any, so I feel like this guy's really good, and you can replace Cameron Wake with this guy, and then now you have your pass rusher because you're gonna need that. You have Darnold in the division. Obviously, we know with Brady, and you're gonna need to get Josh Allen. So you have your defensive end for the future.
Yeah. For 13, I got Montez Sweat, who I don't know if he'll get down this far.
If they do, they got to take him.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they got to take him. They do need that edge pass rusher type guy. And this would definitely be the one. Ran a 4.41 combine, which is the quickest for a edge rusher. So yeah, he's got overpowering strength. I feel like gets to the quarterback. I feel like this would be huge if Miami Dolphins would snag him at 13.
At 14 is the Atlanta Falcons pick, and I got them taking Christian Wilkins here. Yes, they gave Grady Jarrett the franchise tag, but they haven't signed him to a long-term deal yet. I mean, they need a run stuffer in the middle. Wilkins can stop the run and get pressure on the quarterback. I think he could be good this year being paired right next to Grady Jarrett, and I think the Falcons definitely need defensive tackle help, and I'm going with Grady Jarrett with the 14th pick. I'm going with Christian Wilkins with the 14th pick to the Falcons. Yeah, another Clemson guy. Grady Jarrett was a Clemson guy.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I have them getting Wilkins as well. I mean, if they get him and Grady Jarrett running up the middle, forget about it. It ain't happening.
Yeah, I also got them take Christian Wilkinson. 4 years at Clemson, 41 tackles, 16 sacks, and he's also he's also a born winner. Won 2 national titles at Clemson. Only had 4 or 5 losses. So he's gonna come in. And he's gonna that winner's mentality. So I think her team, that Atlanta, which had high hopes last year, and kind of, all the injuries and whatever, this Atlanta still could be a good team next year. So, I think this all would help them. Right? And it would help them stop the run, too. It'd be very tough to run against them.
At 15, I don't think Haskins is going to fall this far. It would be crazy if he did, I think. I mean, the Redskins would be so happy he did, but I got the Redskins taking Dwayne Haskins at 15. I think, he's the most for quarterbacks, he is the sure thing in this draft. I think he's got a really good arm. He's accurate. He's good at the line of scrimmage, which is big. And yes, he might not be the most mobile guy, but he has pocket movement to get away from pass rushers. I think he is the sure thing in terms of quarterbacks in this draft, and that's why I got the Redskins at 15 taking Dwayne Haskins.
I have them getting Brian Burns from Florida.
That would be good. That would really be a loaded front seven if that happens.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be insanely good just because, I don't think, like you said, that Haskins or a quarterback that's worth it at that point is going to be there. So, and I feel like this guy, I mean, he's versatile. He's a physical freak again. 10 in chance. He's 6'5". I like to see him maybe put a little more, like a little more meat on the bones, add a little bit of strength, although he is very strong as it is. I just think it would do his game better to add a little strength. But if you had that to what the Redskins have already, to me, again, it's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough defense to go against.
Yeah, and for me, I was kind of going back because I had of course the 3 quarterbacks going before this. So I do have him taking Marquise Brown right at 15 from Oklahoma, the wide receiver from Oklahoma. Even though they may trade up for a quarterback tonight, but cousin Antonio Brown, very explosive. Foot injury kept him out from working out with teams, so I don't know if he'll be able to go this high. But I feel like Washington really needs an offensive weapon. They do need a quarterback as well, but I feel like this would probably be the next best thing if they can't get a quarterback because their D is good, and I feel like they really need some help with some weapons right now. So I'm going to go with Marquise Brown.
Well, and they just lost with Jamison Crowder, if I'm not mistaken. And plus, what was the guy that the wide receiver they drafted from like TCU?
Josh Doxson. He's been a complete bust.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything. So, yeah, like you said, he needs weapons, and he's probably the most explosive wide receiver that there is easily in this draft.
At 16, I got the Panthers taking a tackle, Andre Dillard, and they really need offensive line help to protect Cam Newton, and that's why I got Andre Dillard going number 16 to the Panthers.
I'm right there with. I have them getting him as well. You need someone to protect Cam Newton because you need to protect that investment because he gets hurt too much, and that will just solidify that offensive line even more.
Yeah, I got Brian Barnes, the outside linebacker. He got pressured 65 times on quarterbacks last year, second best. So I'm gonna go with him.
At 17, my Giants pick again, and it's probably going to come down to an edge rusher, a defensive player. And I think it's going to come down to Rashawn Gary or Cleveland Ferrell if he's still there. And I think the only issue with Cleveland Ferrell is he'd have to play outside linebacker. They say he could play outside linebacker, but he played more 4-3 defensive end in college. Rashawn Gary, he fits the scheme of that 3-4 defensive end. And I think even though Gary only had 10 sacks in college, he didn't live up to his potential being the number one high school player coming out. I think New Jersey kid. I think he's got a lot of potential. You're drafting here potential, not production, but at 17, you could draft more potential than production. I think I'm going with the Giants taking Rashawn Gary, even though he had 10 sacks in college and needs to improve getting to the quarterback. He's pretty good against the run, and he's really athletic. I got the Giants taking Rashawn Gary out of Michigan at 17.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I have them getting him as well. To me, in my mock draft at this point, so then you're going to pair Rashawn Gary with Ed Oliver. That pass rush is going. You're setting yourself up to be one of the typical Giants teams that have that great pass rush, and that guy and physical free. I've been saying this a lot with this defensive line, talent and pass rush talent. 6'4", about 9.5-inch hands. The guy ran 4.58, can bench press 26, and has a vertical of 38 inches, which at that body mass and height is insanely good. So to me, if you pair him up, you got your pass rush. Your outside pass rusher for, again, the next 10 plus years.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go offensive lineman with Jonah Williams right here. I feel like they keep wanting to have Eli as their starting quarterback, so I feel like
bold strategy.
Yeah, so it's like they're going to want to protect Eli.
They've done a lot of work to the offensive line the last 2 years, though, even though I've heard a lot of Jonah Williams with the Giants, too.
They have, but I feel like they want to keep protecting Eli as long as they can because they still want him. So I feel like Jonah Williams is probably the guy for him. Could play guard or tackle. Started 44 straight games, so he stays healthy. Yeah, I think Giants will pick him.
The Vikings at 18, I got them taking in offensive lineman Cody Ford. He could also move inside and play guard. I think the Vikings had major issues on the interior of their offensive line last year. I think with now Gary Kubiak in, he wants to run that zone blocking scheme. I think Ford could help with that, improve the Vikings running game. That's why I got the Vikings taking Cody Ford with the 18th pick. They definitely need improvements to that offensive line. That was a big reason why they missed the playoffs last year.
I had them getting Chris Lindstrom, sorry. Because, I'm looking at it right now. His NFL comparison, Joel Bentonio. So if he can be that guy, he's a pretty good guard. So if you can get that, and like you said, that offensive line has been a weakness for forever. They have tried to draft in the past, offensive line talent that hasn't exactly worked out to what they've expected. So I feel like they're going to take another swing at this, and they need it because you got to protect Kirk Cousins, the fully guaranteed man.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
So, yeah, this is another one I went back and forth on, but because I still had Rashad Gary on the board, I figured, I think he's probably at that point best one out there. So I took Gary. Yeah, he's very inconsistent. Only had 10 sacks. He had a shoulder injury, but he said he's completely fine. So he's kind of like Denai Kitsu. I feel like he'll play when he wants to, and he'll take his plays off. And I feel like he gets the NFL level. You hope he turns it on where he's playing all the time, but I think Gary could be really, really good.
And when you pair him with Everson Griffin and Daniel Hunter, good luck.
Yeah.
Yes. At 19, I got the Titans taking Dexter Lawrence. I think they need a run stuffer, and that will fill that hole getting Dexter Lawrence. Kyle.
I got DK Metcalf because I feel like they need a wide receiver that could be that explosive wide receiver. And that guy is just a physical freak. He has everything, and I feel like you need a weapon for Mariota because he needs to start developing the passing aspect of his game.
Yeah, for me, I got Dexter Lawrence as well. He's explosive. He could play nose guard at the 3-4. Would help stop the run for him. So, I got Dexter Lawrence going to Tennessee.
At 20, I got the Steelers taking Byron Murphy. They need a corner, and this really, really is going to help their defensive backfield. Kyle.
Yeah, I would have them getting a corner, except I still have Devin Bush on the
they'll take Devin Bush if he's there.
Oh, yeah, because, the fact that, Steelers and linebackers, it's peanut butter and jelly. They're synonymous with that, and I feel like he would put that because of unfortunately the stuff that happened with Shazier. It looks like his career is probably over, unfortunately. So Devin Bush could step right in, and he could be that dominant defensive player that they need, especially at the linebacker position.
Yeah. For Pitt, I also got Byron Murphy, cornerback from Washington. In 20 games last year, in 20 games in Washington had 7 picks and 27 pass breakups. Really good. I feel like really helped Steelers scheme defensively. They need the help in the secondary.
At 21, I got with the loss of with them trading Frank Clark. I think it's pretty obvious where the Seahawks are going to go. I say edge rusher, and I'm going with Cleveland Ferrell. That'd be great for them if he's there. I got Cleveland Ferrell going to the Seahawks at 21.
I have them getting actually Jeffrey Simmons. I had him going out a little bit of a limb from Mississippi because to me, if he wasn't hurt, he would be probably a top 5 prospect, and he might potentially go. He'd be right there with Quinn Williams and Bosa. But I feel like if you can get him, this is screams value at this point. He might not play this year, or if he does, it's probably gonna be the second half of the year. But you can get a guy that is just one of those dominant defensive line. And you need pass rush, obviously, since you got rid of Frank Clark. So to me, if you get Simmons, great value and a dominant player.
Yeah, also for the CS, I got Cleveland Ferrell, the defensive end. Actually, actually saying may not have as high as the ceiling as most of the pass rushers in this draft, but I think at this point it may not be a big deal. I think it may not, but I really like them with that line that they had last year. So I'm gonna take Ferrell. They need a pass rusher now.
At 22, I got the Ravens taking Hollywood Brown. And I know a lot of people are talking about like McCoy from Texas A&M or Bradbury, but I think yes, you're going to run the ball a lot, but you need a threat in the passing game to complement your running game with Lamar Jackson and Gus Edwards and Mark Ingram. You need somebody to complement that, and that's why I'm going with Hollywood Brown at 22 for the Ravens.
Yeah, I have them getting Eric McCoy. Yes, they definitely do need that explosive wide receiver, which Brown would most definitely be. But if you can get him a center, this guy is to me, he's a very good center, very smart. That if could help Lamar Jackson almost as much as Brown could potentially, because he's gonna, point something out, get the line, blocking where it should be. And the center is probably right next to on the offensive line is probably the most important, right next, right after left tackle, or arguably could be right there. But I have them getting Eric McCoy from A&M.
I have them getting Cody Ford, the guard / tackle from Oklahoma. Gets to the point of attack of defenders. Very good, and the team that wants to run the ball a lot, I feel like best option for him right now. But could have gone wide receiver. But.
So at 23, with Cody Ford, with Andre Dillard and Jonah Williams off the board, I don't think the Texans are going to reach for a tackle or an offensive lineman, even though they desperately need one. I think they're going to try to complete that defense in the secondary, and I got them taking Greedy Williams out of LSU. Yes, he's probably the biggest corner in the draft, even though tackling's a concern, biggest corner in the draft, and it would complete the Texans defense if they take him there.
I have them getting a Byron Murphy from Washington although I think Greedy Williams is probably the better in terms of just pure coverage ability. to me, he doesn't tackle the way he should. And I feel like you need that, especially with someone like Clowney on the team, especially with JJ Watt. If he makes a business decision and decides to not tackle, or maybe if he attempts to tackle, but really it's ducking out of the way, he is going to get destroyed by JJ. He is going to tear him up. He's going to, in the locker room, he's going to yell at him for days and get him into shape. But I think Byron Murphy could kind of fit in a way kind of when they had a Boulier there. He can be kind of that similar play. He could be a pretty good pressure. He doesn't have outstanding speed in terms of especially with Greedy Williams, but he could be a very good corner for the rest of his career.
Yeah, and I do have Houston taking an offensive lineman here, and Andre Dillard from Washington State, and the team that could not pass block at all for Deshaun Watson last year. With Mike Leach's air raid offense, as we know, he had the pass block last year 722 times, so he is very experienced in pass blocking. So I feel like the perfect fit for the Texans.
At 24, the Raiders need more defensive help, and I got them taking DeAndre Baker out of Georgia. I think they need a corner. They need because of how bad their defense was last year. They need more defensive help. I got them taking Baker at 24.
I have them actually getting Josh Jacobs especially for a running back and for any one period. He has just over 10-inch hands, which is massive for that. Now at Bama, there was people say his lack of touches. They were concerned about that. Well, it's like, well, what do you want the guy? You can see that he has a lack of touches. You're concerned about that, or the guy has 300 plus touches every year for 4 years, and then you're worried about that. So it's like, well, what do you want? Like, are you just trying to nitpick? Just to do it. But to me, I would get him because obviously Marshawn Lynch just recently retired. I think Josh Jacobs, he can do everything. He can catch. Yeah, obviously he can run. He can be that kind of a security blanket out of the backfield for Carr. Obviously if they keep him, which they should. But to me, I think it'd be the perfect fit and fill a very big need for the Raiders.
I also have the Raiders taking DeAndre Baker, reliable cornerback, very good instincts. Opponents, when he was on man-to-man last year, opposing quarterbacks only completed passes to him 45% of the time. So very good cornerback, I feel like, and they need the help, especially in Oakland. So I got Baker as well.
At number 25, I got the Eagles taking Chris Lindstrom out of BC. I think this is a really good pick. And for a team that's win now, get a guard that could plug and play, could play right away. And yes, the left side of the Eagles' offensive line was one of their weaknesses last year. I think this will improve that. This will improve that. And I got the Eagles taking Lindstrom at 25. Kyle.
I have them taking Marquise Brown. Even though they did get Deshaun Jackson back, I feel like Deshaun Jackson could be the perfect mentor for Marquise Brown. They kind of essentially have the same game. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his own NFL comparison is Deshaun Jackson. So you have him. You can learn from Deshaun Jackson. You can kind of save him a little bit, kind of bring him along because dealing with the Liz Frank injury, I believe that he had, which a foot injury with a wide receiver. It's not exactly the most encouraging thing in the world, but you bring him, Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey, Zach Ertz. That offense is loaded with talent for Carson Wentz.
For the Eagles, for my 25th pick, I have Greedy Williams, the corner from LSU. Big corner. The issue, at times the effort and the tackling. I feel like, you hope he get better on that. But on third downs last year, he was targeted 13 times. None of the wide receivers caught any of his passes. So very good on third down. I feel like for an Eagles defense that was really banged up last year, I think he'd be a big help just as a stabilizer.
Colts at 26. I got them taking DK Metcalf, best player available right there. They got their speed guy with T.Y. Hill. Now they got their physical, the guys with size and physicality with DK Metcalf. I got Colts taking him at 26.
I actually have them taking Dexter Lawrence because I feel like they need that pass rush. Now I understand he has the little character flaws and all that, which is definitely an issue. But I feel like Frank Wright could kind of be that perfect coach because he's like a very kind of like mellow, chill guy that's able to deal with off the field issues. But this guy and another mass guy, dude, is 6'4", 342, 10.5-inch hands. And he bench pressed 36 reps at the combine. That's insanely good. And now he ran a 5.5 for his 40. I'd see a little bit better, but that could be your nose tackle right there and just dominate on the defensive line.
I'm also going to defensive lineman as well for the Colts. I got Jeffrey Simmons from Mississippi State, D tackle. Yeah, with the torn ACL, this kid's a top 10 talent. I don't think if he did tear his ACL. So I'm hearing late November, maybe December he can come back. So the Colts could be in the playoff push right there. So he could really help out that line when he comes back, and hopefully December.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at 27, I got the Raiders taking Noah Fant. I think they need a weapon for Derek Carr, and I got Fant going 27 to the Raiders.
I'm right there with you. Yep, 6'4", almost 10-inch hands, ran a 4.5. Replaced Jared Cook. There you go, perfect fit.
Yeah, and I went between him, and I actually ended up choosing Alabama's running back Josh Jacobs. Great story. He was homeless for most of his childhood. Pretty inspirational story. I feel like
it builds character.
Yeah, it does, and I feel like you're getting another Marshawn Lynch type guy right here. I'm gonna go with Josh Jacobs.
At 28, got the Chargers taking Caleb McGarry out of Washington. I think they need offensive line help, seeing that in the division round of the playoff, and this will help it. This will help that taking Caleb McGarry with that pick.
I have them getting Cody Ford from Oklahoma because you need offensive line help to help. That's going to bolster the run game. Melvin Gordon is definitely going to protect Philip Rivers, which is what you definitely need, and I feel like he could be a perfect fit.
Yeah, I'm also going lineman. I'm going to go Eric McCoy from Texas A&M. Very reliable in the run game. Also playing the SEC West, he's held his own against some of the best pass rushers in the country. So, I feel like it's a good fit.
With the Seahawks at 29, I got them getting Jonathan Abram out of Mississippi State. I think they need secondary help, and he's a really good safety that will help that secondary.
I have them getting Caleb McGarry, the tackle from Washington. You need to get offensive line help. This offensive line has not been good at all, and you need to start protecting Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Seattle, I'm going back to defense. I got Rocky Sin, the cornerback from Temple.
He's tough.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. He's going to get in your face. He actually won 2 state championship titles in wrestling. So, tough guy. I think he fits with the Seahawks very well.
At 30 with the Packers, I got them getting Jeffrey Simmons. Yeah, he might not play this year, but if he becomes healthy, he is going to be a force on that Packers defense. That's why I got the Packers taking Simmons at 30.
I have them getting A.J. Brown, the wide receiver from Ole Miss, because you lost Randall Cobb. You need to get that other receiver that's next to Devontae Adams. That could be that 2 or potentially 1, depending on the day. And this guy, he's very good. And I'm looking right now. His NFL comparison is Juju Smith-Schuster. So let's say you can get a guy that's close to Juju and put him next to Devontae Adams with Aaron Rodgers. Good luck stopping that.
Yeah, I'm also going to go receiver. Well, I'm going to go Noah Fant from Iowa. You guys need to develop his blocking skills, which they need help blocking right now. But could be a slot receiver. With Graham getting older, I feel like good fit for him. Can learn under Jimmy Graham.
So at 31, I got the Rams taking Garrett Bradbury, losing Roger Stafford and John Sullivan. They need an interior lineman. I got them taking Bradbury at 31.
I have them actually taking Jalen Ferguson from Louisiana Tech because they need edge rushers because Aaron Donald's insanely good, but he can't do it just strictly by himself. He's gonna get double teams if you have no talent. He's gonna get triple teamed. So you need to get him. This guy could be a very, very good edge rusher. I'm looking now from comparison, Marcus Davenport. If you can compare, put that with Aaron Donald, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm with you, Steve. Garrett Barry from NC State. Only 2 penalties last year, 942 snaps. So very disappointing.
All right, well, the last 3 minutes of the show, we're going to save this for the Patriots with Justin and Kyle's favorite team. And look at the Patriots right now. Yes, it's probably going to be tight end or wide receiver. It's going to be one of those skill positions, I think. They may even trade out of this pick because I don't think maybe one of these players.
Oh God, just don't.
But I don't think one of these players could be worth that 5th-year option because you tell if a guy gets drafted in the 2nd year, they're not eligible for that 5th-year option, but they drafted in the 1st round, they get eligible for the 5th-year option. So I'm going to go with A.J. Brown. The Patriots are really, really thin at receiver. I think and I think that's why A.J. Brown will help the depth of that receiving core. That's why I got A.J. Brown go to the Patriots at 32. And for the next 2.5 minutes, we'll let you and Justin debate the 32nd pick of the Patriots.
I honestly, now if we were projecting trades, I would say they would trade up because I have DK Metcalf lasting to 19th and Noah Fant lasting to 27th. If any of those two guys, or even let's say possibly like Marquise Brown lasting to that long, I could see them trading up because I was like, we all know that wide receiver core. You have Edelman, Philip Dorsett. Yeah. You want to bank on Josh Gordon being there? I don't think so. I don't think it's happening. Yeah. Obviously, no Rob Gronkowski anymore. Sad face. But I have him getting Irv Smith Jr. from Bama because he's not going to be that explosive tight end that Noah Fant could be. He's not going to be that complete tight end right out of the bat that T.J. Hawkinson can be. He's going to be more kind of like the Benjamin Watson type tight end, which obviously you all know when he was with the Patriots did very good. He's more of he'll be like above average tight end that could definitely give you the secure tight end over the middle, which is what Brady definitely excels at when he has had that recently. I could see something like that, possibly like Paris Campbell potentially, because it's going to be like Percy Harvin. That's what he could do. They could potentially maybe like reach for another wide receiver like Hakeem Butler, where they could possibly get him in the second. Or there's the guy, I think, was it Miles Boykin, if I'm not mistaken, from Notre Dame, who's literally a physical freak. I think he had like a 43.5-inch vertical at like 6'5", which is like jump ball city for days. But I am getting Irv Smith Jr. and locking down the tight end spot.
I have them go and DK Metcalf. I don't know if he's gonna sink this low, but I think if he does somehow, I think this is
if he does, I will be the happiest man alive.
Yeah, it just kind of the way it worked out. I saw him back. I was like, oh well. Guess I'm taking him. He's got elite speed. He's a deep ball threat every time. I know Brady's arm's not the same as it used to, but he's a deep ball threat still. And maybe he does fall back because he does have a bit of an injury history we could see, but he's a physical freak. He's very, very strong.
The guy looks like he looks like he's so strong. I'm not saying he's on steroids, but it almost looks like he's just so physically strong. It's just like, good Lord, like how, and that's gonna help in the pass block game.
Yeah, well, so I got
good luck corners getting off that guy.
Yeah, because as we know, the Patriots don't really have wide receivers right now, so I feel like that's their need right now over a tight end. I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit need a little bit more of a tight end at this point.
To me, it has to be this, maybe a pass rusher. Somehow someone falls, potentially a linebacker, although they could maybe get that in a second. But yeah, to me, it has to be somewhere on the offense.
So that's gonna wrap it up this week for Sports Talk with RKJ. For my co-host Justin D'Onofrio and Kyle Galuli, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week talking NBA playoffs, NFL draft recap, NHL playoffs, and some baseball and some Kentucky Derby. Have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy the NFL draft.